Hello, beautiful souls, and welcome to my channel. I'm Ruthie Phillips, clairvoyant medium, and this is another spirit update. What I want to talk to you today about at the end of this year, the close of this 2025, when we're just about to get to this December the 19th, when 3i Atlas is going to be closest to the sun, or to the Earth, shall I say, not the sun. It's done a slingshot around the sun. If you don't know what 3i Atlas is, then I suggest you visit Pam Gregory's astrology channel, where she talks all about it. And we're also coming up to the Capricorn solstice, huge energies there on the 21st. And then we have Christmas Day. So we have the 19th, the 21st, the 25th, and then so on into January with the Orthodox celebrations. However, that's not what I'm going to talk about. What I wanted to talk about today is the fact that when people come to see me, I guess after 40 years of working with spirit in the spiritual realms and passing on messages from loved ones who've passed over, I tend to just think that everyone knows what I know, and sometimes they don't. So it's stuff that I've learned, stuff that I know, my reality, my take on the spiritual world, what happens when we pass over, and what happens in the lead up to it. I thought I'd share some of that with you because it's always nice to know if you're going to go and see a medium or a clairvoyant at some stage. It's always good to know some of this stuff. It is my reality, so please take on board what resonates with you, not my truth. It has to be your own. And this is why when you go and see a medium, it's always good to make sure that you get survival evidence or proof of survival. Because as the spiritualists say, and as I believe, there is no death. And that means we have a continual existence of the soul. So death is merely stepping into another room, as far as I'm concerned. A pretty brilliant, fabulous room, and it's a going home. So a lot of people, when they're having a session with me, once we've worked out who's actually speaking to them, who's approached, and who wants to speak, and we get some evidence of who they were to them, maybe an initial, maybe a name, maybe a circumstance that they had around them that they shared, some history, some things that have just happened that your loved one in spirit may know. But when I'm talking about someone who's passed over, quite often, it's more often than not actually, people, my clients, are quite worried that they were not there, that they were absent for the actual moment of passing of their loved one. And this is so frequent. I can't tell you how frequent this is. And I want you all to let go. As we're at the end of the year, let's let go of this. Let's let go of the grief and the guilt around not being there for a loved one who's passed over. Because in many cases, they need to be alone to do it. I've had situations where there's whole families, 10, 12, 20 people, tag teaming the presence with their loved one who's in the bed, in the hospice or the hospital or at home. And they won't leave them alone for a moment. And then one day, in one perfect moment, someone goes out to the toilet, someone goes to put a cup of tea on, someone goes to take a phone call, and their loved one's left alone for a few minutes. And it's in that moment, in that perfect moment, that the loved one chooses to go. It's because our energy holds on to them and they can't let go, where all those loving cords are retaining them here on the earth. So one of the kindest things that you can do to yourself is forgive yourself for that if you have been absent from a loved one passing. But the other one is let your loved one who's in pain or who's ready to go, let them know it's okay. Give them that permission because they're obviously not giving it for themselves. Tell them you'll be all right. Tell them you have each other to look after. It's okay. And that's what they need to hear. For my mother, I said to her, please relax now. Just relax. Take some breaths and just let go. And these things really help. Okay. At the moment of passing, we're gathered up. We're gathered up by our guardian angel. we're gathered up by our spiritual support, and we're taken across. Quite often in near-death experiences, people have seen the white tunnel of light. They zoom along this tunnel, and every single soul is met. Everyone's met. Even Hitler was met. Okay, so it doesn't matter how good or bad or indifferent you've been in your life, you are met, and you are welcomed with loving arms back into spirit. It is your spiritual home. You've been away on a journey, having this physical experience. So spirit wants to get you back, get you reaccustomed to being back with them. So there's usually a great reunion. And those that you've lost in your life that have gone before you are there to meet you. And it's a wonderful, wonderful, loving embrace. So as we're met, I just want you to know as well, our beautiful pets, any of our pets or any animal that we've been close to in our life, they're also met. And they usually go to be looked after by a family member in spirit. If there's no one in spirit to look after them, then they go to what I can only describe as an angelic kind of spiritual Elysian field, where it's green grass and blue skies and fluffy white clouds and beautiful breezes, and they romp around being cared for by the angels. So never worry about your pets. Always know that they'll be met too. And they usually come through in readings as well. And they'll be there to meet you when you go across. Right. So when we have passed over, what happens is we have this reunion. And then we're given the grace and someone accompanies us, someone who's been there a while comes with us so that we can go round our loved ones and say our spiritual goodbyes. This is really important because we need to go and visit those that we've left. Sometimes if a passing is sudden, we want to make sure that they're okay. And so this is a time where if you don't know that someone's passed and you may be journeying to see them, or you haven't heard news from a family member that a loved one's gone over, you may have a thought or a feeling, or you feel a breeze or a wafting next to your cheek, or you have a very strong impression of this person, and then moments later you may find out they've gone. But this also happens if you're there and they come and say their goodbyes. And they do the rounds. So quite often you will have a very strong sense of your loved one very soon after they've passed. Having done that, they prepare, and they always pretty much 100% go to their own funeral, their own service, their own memorial, whatever ritual is being held around their passing. One thing that always comes through it doesn't always come through, but quite often comes through with the ladies in spirit that I speak to. And they're ladies of a particular vintage, but they quite often say, thank goodness you didn't send me across in my nightie, because for them it was very important that they were presented at their funeral in some nice clothes, in their favorite color or their favorite outfit. And it's always something quite interesting when they say that, because it's usually when a family member has taken a lot of care and attention and really focused on what they want them to be sent off in. So it's a very nice thing. So be mindful also of how your loved one is cloaked or clothed, and how they're presented as they go off, because they see it all and they know. So it's always nice to choose a beautiful outfit that you know that they would have loved. As I said, they all go to their own funeral. We all go to our own funerals. And it's very interesting because they take note of who's there. And quite often the message is, I didn't know I was so loved. I didn't know so many people cared for me, by all the faces and all the loving energy at my funeral. And that's sad, because if we can't tell love while we're here to someone, it's really important that we do that, so that then we don't have to say that when we've passed over and we're communicating back to a loved one. So after the funeral, they often go to the wake as well and see who has one too many drinks. And they like to see the spread that's put on, quite a lot of them, especially if the food and drink was one of their things in life. They like to make sure everyone was looked after. And then at that darkest time, when everyone's gone home after the funeral and the main mourners, like say it's your parent or a partner or a child that has passed over, this for you is the darkest, heaviest time of your grief, because you feel so cut off and everyone's gone off and got on with their lives and you're left to cope. And this time is a time that you need to know that you're being surrounded a lot by your own angels and your own spiritual support. But your loved one who's passed over has gone into what I can only describe as a spiritual nursing home. And I often see them lying down, beautifully shrouded in white. There's loads of beautiful gossamer curtains all around them. And loved ones and angels and spirit guides and ascended masters, anyone that is called in to help, is there giving them love and healing and adjustment for being back in the spiritual realms. And this is really important, to know that this happens. Don't feel, oh, I've lost my connection. They're not here anymore. I can't feel them around me. What am I going to do? Just know that sometimes it just takes a little while. In our earthly terms, it can take 3 months, 6 months, a year. And this all depends on the soul, the manner of their passing, if they've been ill a long time, if it was a shock or trauma, how awakened and aware and spiritually advanced they are, depends on how long it takes them. Now, some people, when they pass, they're onto it straight away. It doesn't take very long at all. All right? And others need that time to readjust to being back in spirit. But when they do come out of that healing phase, they come and visit. They come and visit and let you know. And invariably, they give signs. Quite often, it can be a favorite thing that you shared. It can be a feather. It can be a bird. It can be a flower, something that's significant to you both. And they often do this as far as signs go. So ask your loved one, if they've been passed over for a little while, ask them for a sign and ask them in the form that you'd like to receive it, so that you know it's definitely from them. Your loved ones can hear you and see you, even if you can't see or hear them, but they know what you're doing. And they often comment in sessions with me about things that have just happened, changes in decor in your home. Maybe you've sold, maybe you've moved. Where you are is not where they stay. They come with you and they visit you in your new location. So please don't get yourself stuck in a house or a flat or a location, a country, a town, just because you think, if I leave here, they'll never find me. That's complete rubbish, I have to tell you right now. They know where you are. Your connection is one of the heart and of love. It's not dependent on the physical location. Okay? So please remember that. Now, when you have troubles in your life and you want some extra help, quite often we call on maybe God, Jesus, Our Lady Mary, the angels, spiritual support, the ascended masters. If you want your loved ones to help you, you can call on your parents, your grandparents. You have to ask them in such a way that gives them permission to enter their life. Because when we come here, we're given free will. And that's a wonderful gift, so that we can do whatever we want in our life. But it also means, by divine law, that they're not allowed to intercede in our life unless we give them permission. So when you ask for something, what I want you to do is say, Mum, Dad, Jimmy, Fred, whoever, please, this is my will, and outline exactly what you want to achieve, what your desire is, what you want to manifest, anything. But be very precise. This is my will. This is what I wish to create. Please bring your considerable energy to bear to help me co-create this here on earth. I love you. Thank you. That way, you've given them permission, and they're allowed to enter your life and help you. Other than that, if you don't give them permission, they're just hanging around waiting for a good job to do because they want to help you. They want you to live your best life and they want to help you to do that. They want to guide you and guard you and give you inspiration. So give them that permission by asking them for their help. Don't just say, oh, help me, because they're in spirit saying, and with what? So it's very important that you're very genuine, you're very clear in your requests. All right. So I can hear a lot of you already. Psychically, I can hear you going, I'm going to do that in just a minute, as soon as I finish, as soon as she stopped talking. So what I want to do, that's just phase one, some of the stuff that I've learned over the years. When my daughter was little and she'd introduce me to her school friends, she'd say, this is my mummy, she knows stuff. Well, it's that stuff that I know that I'd like to share with you in these spirit updates. So in the meantime, I wish you a very happy solstice, a very Merry Christmas, and the happiest and most amazing 2026 as we start the new energy of the one. Lots of love to you all and lots of blessings. Bye for now.